can I say thank you so much on behalf of Suffolk Historic Churches Trust. You have done an amazing job, and all I actually asked you to do was to write a hymn or a song for us.
Yeah, I always seize it and make it more than it necessarily needs to be.
So we've got this fabulous contemporary hymn, worship song, and we've got a school who've recorded it, and it's going to be part of our big service at the cathedral in September, which is to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Suffolk Historic Churches Trust. So it's a big event for us. So why did you decide to help us?
Well, I can't resist a challenge is one thing. It's a local project, and I love doing projects within Suffolk. I think that's lots of fun. And also I do quite like the challenge of writing something prescriptive. Quite a lot of what I do in songwriting is something that I generate myself, an idea I have, and then build on that. So when someone comes to you with a concept and you say, okay, how could I approach this? And I remember thinking through several. I think the one thing I remember thinking at the time when you first asked me was, I thought I don't want to write a song about old church buildings. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously that's the main thing that Suffolk Historic Churches Trust does, is support the infrastructure, if you like, the buildings. But I thought if I can write a song about the legacy and the dynamic of faith in Suffolk over the 1200 years that the Christian faith's been here, then that would be something that could really resonate and is actually very appropriate to the.
You see, I knew you'd done these sort of charity songs before, worship songs. You've done your CDs and so on. We've spoken about that many times
over the last 30 years.
And thousands of children in Suffolk have sung your songs and been filmed and recorded doing them. We just thought we'd have a hymn for the service, but you actually said, no, let's take it to a school, let's get them to not only record it, but let's film them, and it's got huge now. So how did you find the school?
So I think we had a few requirements when we originally sat in our lounge, like in the autumn last year at some point. And I think we decided that it'd be good to have it somewhere on the west of the county because the service is going to be in Bury, so it would be good to give a focus on that side. So I just reached out to a handful of people I know that are in the education and youth work and stuff on the west of the county and said, any ideas? And Alison, her name is, came back and said, I know the school I think would be really good for this, and then got in touch with Emma at the school, and the rest is history.
Yes, I was there when you were filming last week, and the children are so excited. And you had to film them again and again from different angles. They must have sung your song about 20 times in one afternoon, but they were very patient about it all.
Yeah, so it brings back some memories because it's actually now, because of the pandemic and other reasons here, it's now 7 years since we've done a big children's project. So actually it was a tiny taste, a reminder, and the thing that I had forgotten was just the level of sheer excitement the children have when they're part of that process. Because although it's maybe quite commonplace to you and I to be involved in that tech and stuff, for these kids it's like the first chance to be involved in something like that.
And all the parents were there watching on the side. We made sure they were out of shot, but they're just as excited, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's great. Yeah, so it's great going through that whole process. And I have to say, as I think I said to you when we were doing it, the moment when you hear people actually singing the song that you visualised and sat at the piano and worked on, hear it coming to life, that's a real emotional moment in the journey.
Let me ask you about how you actually do that then, how you come up with the concept. Because we sat here and I said to you, historic churches, we raise money to either, it's legacies, but also our big event, Ride and Stride, each year. So we have this big fundraising event. Grants go to churches to help save these amazing Grade 1 listed buildings with tiny congregations sometimes. Absolutely. And it's supported by people who, to be honest, who never go to church, as well as those who do. Because everyone values these amazing buildings that have got such history. So I sort of threw all that at you, and I said it's non-denominational, multi-denominational. It's all groups. It's meeting houses, churches, chapels, and everything. And they'll all be represented at our service at the cathedral in September, because we're inviting two of every historic church in the county to come to it, and the children from Sexton's Manor will be there singing as well. They're going to be singing your song. So you have all this thrown at you. What's the first thing you do?
Okay, so the first thing I tried to do was a bit of homework. I had done a little bit of homework previously for the diocese diocesan centenary. So I knew where some of the oldest churches were in the county. And I had done some initial work on some research of some of the saints and martyrs of Suffolk for the faith in Suffolk. So I actually reopened my Googling and sat down and did a few hours of research, which was basically looking at that history, looking at when the first Christian faith came to the county, so where those very old churches, when they were first born, who were some of the key characters there. There were some poems that have been written over the years, about some of the saints of Suffolk and stuff. So I looked at that just to get the feel of it. Also looked at the timeline. So the second verse starts 1200 years, because that basically, as far as I could work out, is roughly the time period since the Christian faith and that came to Suffolk and the first churches were built. So, and then then started to build up. So I kind of did some research, if you like, on what happened, and then I look, as I always do when I songwrite, I look for a lyrical hook, because I almost always with songs start with the chorus and start to try and find something that works from a lyrical perspective, but also then I can make a musical hook that works, and build it out from there. So that's how I usually do. Most of my inspiration on this very piano happens every morning. Not every morning, but many mornings I go make a cup of tea, like first thing before I do anything else, and come and sit down at the piano, and I just record musical ideas, not with any relationship to lyrics. Just so I've got on my phone a repository of many musical ideas that I've just I try and document or tag them with words to remind me what kind of style they're for. So I think I had one or two thoughts that I'd previously thought. I thought, okay, so that riff or that concept, that melodic concept could work there, and then I try and build it. So we'll stand on the faith and walk in the path of those that went before us.
I have to say that when I heard those words about walking in the footsteps of those who've been before, I just had such a lump in my throat. It really resonated. So I think that's going to be some people will remember. Yeah,
and I think that once you can feel, when you've got those phrases that feel like they can be the nucleus of the song. Do you know what I mean? And then so trying to make that chorus as upbeat and as summarising as possible, and then give a little bit more of a narrative in the verses. So that's the general approach.
Do you get that shiver up your spine when you know you cracked it?
Absolutely, yeah. But it's still quite a recursive process though, or iterative process. So it's funny enough. Last thing at night, I always think everything seems brilliant last thing at night before I go to bed at midnight, and then you wake up in the cold light of day and you think,
why did I?
Yeah, maybe that wasn't quite such a good idea. It's really good to revisit and come back, and I have some good critiquing within the family as well, like my wife Wendy and my eldest son Josh particularly are very good at throwing comments back, saying, did you really mean that? Sometimes I co-write with them. I wrote this myself, but they're very good at saying, are you sure about that? Just those little nudges.
So you have the words, and you have the music, and they come together. How do you do the first recording? Because it isn't just you on a piano, is it?
No. So actually, on this song, most of it is me. There's a friend that goes to our church called Ed Copestake, who did lots of guitar parts for me. But prior to that, I'd programmed the drum parts. I'd built up a whole load of percussion stuff, put some samples of church bells in there, and church organ in the background, and the piano, and string parts and stuff. So I built up quite a comprehensive sound base. Got Ed to come in, do some acoustic guitars, several electric guitar parts. So we built all of that up over, probably some of that I iterated while I was actually finishing writing the song, the bits I was doing. And then the main thing I do before we get to the children is try and do some female studio core vocals to actually layer in with the children, to give it the depth, and also to give the harmonies, because actually it can take a very long time to work with children to actually teach harmonies, longer than we've probably got. So I had one evening with, I think, nine girls, somewhere between 18 and 58 probably, and who came into the studio, and we basically layered and layered and layered and layered. So I think we did 24 different tracks of their voices. Some of them just doing the melody, exactly what the children will be doing, and then building up the harmonies. And then we, in the last chorus, you probably remember from the thing, was a counterpart that which we introduced as well. So all of those, so it's just an iterative processing. So by the time we actually went to record the children, I'd actually got the whole thing recorded, apart from having the children in there.
And they've learnt it to that recording, haven't they?
Yes, yeah. One thing I have learned is to actually strip back the thing you give the children to learn. So take out the harmony parts, take out a lot of the church bells and strings, so you just leave them with a good skeletal song, so they don't get distracted by other elements. And then obviously pull it back all together once you've recorded them. And the beauty of recording rather than live performance is you can focus on different bits and redo things. So they were very good. Emma, the music teacher, had taught them amazingly well. So
she taught the whole school, not just
the whole school. Yeah.
Just not the core group who are going to do it at the cathedral.
You're actually seeing a subset of those that are singing on the video, because there's probably twice as many children singing on the actual recording that we did in the church, in the school hall, than you actually saw in the filming at the church. But yeah, so they'd been taught really well, so it was a matter of just going through, getting them to emphasise bits, making sure, and then I have to admit, when you come back to the studio here, I do, you can actually tweak things a little bit, tidy some of the starts and endings up, so you can make it nice and tidy, and then did the mix and sent it to you.
Yeah, and I was just so excited. As I said, I sent you a message saying, it's wonderful. I'm in tears, because it was just incredible, from this germ of an idea that we had at our trustees meeting, to be actually have this incredible piece of music you've recorded. So when we were filming at the church, that was the first time the children had heard the whole thing then, was it, with the bells and everything?
Was. Yeah.
No wonder they were so amazed by it all, and the teachers were in tears, and everybody else as well. It sounded so good.
Yeah, so that was the coming together. And then basically what I've been doing between then and now is the audio recording, which we did in the school. Obviously I edited the audio in first, and then I took the process of getting the different camera angles that we shot from the children in the different locations and cutting them all together for the video that's on YouTube as of today.
Oh, that's so exciting. So it's on YouTube, it's also downloadable.
Yes, so we've basically got it on all of the audio streaming platforms. So today is Friday, the 21st, and tomorrow is Saturday the 22nd. So Saturday is when it's coming out on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all of the streaming platforms. But so today on YouTube, tomorrow on all of those, and if you look in the YouTube, where you're watching this, if you look at the YouTube, you can see the addresses for where to go and find those. So, yeah.
Well, as I said, thank you. We can't thank you enough. And it's so exciting to see a special hymn, especially for Suffolk Historic Churches Trust 50th anniversary. And when we sing it in the cathedral, even more so. Do you think it's going to be sung in churches across the county?
You never know. I always hope that it will get take up. It's amazing hearing feedback from quite a few of the songs we've written over the years. From all over the world, we get emails saying we've used this song, and that's actually really exciting as well. So, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. We can never thank you enough.
Okay, thank you, Rachel.